I had 3 chairs in my house, 1 for solitude, 2 for friendship, 3 for society. Dreams are the touchstones of our character. If a man walks in the woods for love of them half of each day, he is in danger of being regarded as a loafer. But if he spends his days as a speculator, shearing off those woods and making the earth bald before her time, he is deemed an industrious and enterprising citizen. The heart is forever inexperienced. It is a characteristic of wisdom not to do desperate things. The greatest compliment that was ever paid me was when one asked me what I thought, and attended to my answer. If an injustice requires you to be the agent of injustice to another, then, I say, break the law. Let your life be a counter-friction to stop the government machine. Do not hire a man who does your work for money, but him who does it for love of it. Under a government which imprisons any unjustly, the true place for a just man is also a prison. The smallest seed of faith is better than the largest fruit of happiness. When I hear music, I fear no danger. I am invulnerable. I see no foe. I am related to the earliest times, and to the latest. The perception of beauty is a moral test. Every generation laughs at the old fashions, but follows religiously the new. Why should we be in such desperate haste to succeed, and in such desperate enterprises? If a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. That government is best which governs least. A broad margin of leisure is as beautiful in a man's life as in a book. Haste makes waste, no less in life than in housekeeping. Keep the time, observe the hours of the universe, not of the cars. Our houses are such unwieldy property that we are often imprisoned rather than housed by them. We are all sculptors and painters, and our material is our own flesh and blood and bones. Any nobleness begins at once to refine a man's features, any meanness or sensuality to embrit them. What is the use of a house if you haven't got a tolerable planet to put it on? The youth gets together his materials to build a bridge to the moon, or, perchance, a palace or temple on the earth, and, at length, the middle-aged man concludes to build a woodshed with them. Our inventions are wont to be pretty toys, which distract our attention from serious things. They are but improved means to an unimproved end. In wildness is the preservation of the world. To a philosopher all news, as it is called, is gossip, and they who edit and read it are old women over their tea. That man is rich whose pleasures are the cheapest. It is better to have your head in the clouds, and know where you are, than to breathe the clearer atmosphere below them, and think that you are in paradise. What is once well done is done forever. How does it become a man to behave towards the American government today? I answer, that he cannot without disgrace be associated with it. The lawyer's truth is not truth, but consistency or a consistent expediency. If we will be quiet and ready enough, we shall find compensation in every disappointment. There are moments when all anxiety and stated toil are becalmed in the infinite leisure and repose of nature. The light which puts out our eyes is darkness to us. Only that day dawns to which we are awake. There is more day to dawn. The sun is but a morning star. Not only must we be good, but we must also be good for something. We must walk consciously only part way toward our goal, and then leap in the dark to our success. We are always paid for our suspicion by finding what we suspect. It is what a man thinks of himself that really determines his fate. Every man casts a shadow, not his body only, but his imperfectly mingled spirit. This is his grief. Let him turn which way he will, it falls opposite to the sun, short at noon, long at eve. Did you never see it? The finest workers in stone are not copper or steel tools, but the gentle touches of air and water working at their leisure with a liberal allowance of time. The law will never make a man free, it is men who have got to make the law free. Every creature is better alive than dead, men and moose and pine trees, and he who understands it aright will rather preserve its life than destroy it. We are not what we are, nor do we treat or esteem each other for such, but for what we are capable of being. Money is not required to buy one necessity of the soul. It is only when we forget all our learning that we begin to know. The only obligation which I have a right to assume is to do at any time what I think right. 'Tis healthy to be sick sometimes. How can any man be weak who dares to be at all? In human intercourse the tragedy begins, not when there is misunderstanding about words, but when silence is not understood. I have always been regretting that I was not as wise as the day I was born. True friendship can afford true knowledge. It does not depend on darkness and ignorance. There is one consolation in being sick, and that is the possibility that you may recover to a better state than you were ever in before. The squirrel that you kill in jest, dies in earnest. The savage in man is never quite eradicated. Books are the treasured wealth of the world and the fit inheritance of generations and nations. If a man constantly aspires, is he not elevated? It is not desirable to cultivate a respect for the law, so much as for the right. Before printing was discovered, a century was equal to 1,000 years. Nothing makes the earth seem so spacious as to have friends at a distance. They make the latitudes and longitudes.